Welcome to Smart Luxe Travel, where we pierce the veil of manufactured glamour that shrouds the world's most celebrated destinations. Today's expedition ventures into the treacherous territory of luxury travel's greatest deceptions. 10 destinations that have achieved mythical status as backdrops for the performance of wealth, yet deliver experiences bearing the same relationship to genuine luxury that cubic zirconia does to diamonds. Superficially similar, but fundamentally lacking in substance and authenticity. These famed sanctuaries of the elite have become stages for the competitive theater of social media, where the pursuit of the perfect photograph has superseded the quest for meaningful experience. Let us begin this journey of revelation, starting with number 10. Number 10, Lake Como, Italy. Lake Como dangles off Italy's northern border like an overpriced pendant, its reputation as a serene alpine sanctuary systematically dismantled by the relentless machinery of mass tourism. This supposed haven of tranquility, where celebrities once retreated from public scrutiny, has devolved into a congested thoroughfare of selfie-seeking pilgrims, transforming what should be contemplative lakeside moments into exercises in crowd navigation. The Grand Hotel Tremezzo and its ilk command upwards of $1,000 per night for accommodations that deliver all the personalized charm of a corporate conference center. Guests frequently report the jarring disconnect between the property's aristocratic pretensions and its assembly line service model, where overwhelmed staff treat luxury travelers with the dismissive efficiency typically reserved for budget tour groups. The promised exclusivity evaporates when you realize you're sharing your intimate lakeside dinner with 300 other guests who've paid similar premiums for the privilege. If you value truth over marketing mythology, subscribe to our channel. Strike that like button with the conviction of someone rejecting overpriced champagne, and activate notifications to join our community of discerning travelers who refuse to be seduced by empty spectacle. Culinary offerings represent perhaps the most egregious betrayal of expectations. Operate on the principle that scenic views can somehow compensate for mediocre execution, a philosophy that works only until the bill arrives. The entertainment landscape consists primarily of overcrowded ferry rides that transform the lake into a floating traffic jam, complete with diesel fumes and the constant drone of tour guides amplifying their commentary over loudspeakers. The promised connection to Milan's cultural riches requires an hour-long journey through traffic that makes the destination feel more like an expensive suburb than a luxury retreat. Perhaps most damning is the environmental degradation that accompanies peak season visitation. The pristine alpine waters that grace countless Instagram feeds are increasingly marred by visible pollution and floating debris. While the narrow streets of lakeside villages buckle under tourist volumes, they were never designed to accommodate. For those seeking genuine alpine luxury without the circus atmosphere, Switzerland's Lake Geneva or Austria's Lake Hallstatt offer similar natural grandeur with superior infrastructure and fewer crowds. Lake Como's transformation from exclusive retreat to tourist assembly line represents everything wrong with modern luxury travel, where reputation trumps reality and marketing mythology obscures the disappointing truth beneath. Number 9, Cancun, Mexico. Cancun stands as Mexico's most successful exercise in cultural amnesia, a destination that has systematically erased every trace of authentic Mexican character in favor of a sanitized resort experience that could exist anywhere from Florida to the Philippines. This monument to mass tourism masquerades as luxury while delivering an experience so formulaic that seasoned travelers describe it as vacation by committee, where every element has been focus grouped into bland submission. The hotel zone operates as a hermetically sealed bubble, where properties like the Ritz-Carlton charge $500 per night for accommodations that feel more like upscale airport lounges than gateways to Mexican culture. The add-on fees, $50 daily, represent the hospitality industry's most brazen example of bait-and-switch pricing, transforming advertised luxury into a series of nickel-and-dime transactions that would embarrass a budget motel. Culinary offerings epitomize everything wrong with resort dining. International buffets that prioritize volume over authenticity, serving soggy approximations of Mexican cuisine that bear no resemblance to the vibrant flavors found mere miles away in downtown Cancun. Upscale restaurants charge $100 per person for meals that achieve the remarkable feat of being simultaneously overpriced and underwhelming, while genuine local eateries remain frustratingly inaccessible from the isolated hotel strip. The entertainment landscape revolves around manufactured experiences designed for social media consumption rather than genuine cultural immersion. Excursions to Mayan ruins become rushed photo opportunities, with pushy guides upselling add-ons, while the famous Coco Bongo charges $100 for entry to what essentially amounts to a theme park masquerading as nightlife. Loud, sweaty, and about as sophisticated as a college spring break party. Environmental degradation compounds the cultural emptiness. Cancun's beaches suffer from chronic erosion and seasonal sargassum invasions that transform pristine Caribbean waters into malodorous seaweed graveyards. The resort zone's artificial nature becomes painfully apparent when you realize you're paying premium prices to experience a destination that has been systematically stripped of everything that once made it distinctive. For travelers seeking authentic Mexican luxury, the quieter enclaves of the Riviera Maya, Playa del Carmen, or Puerto Morelos offer genuine cultural immersion, superior beaches, and significantly lower costs. Cancun's transformation from fishing village to tourist factory represents the commodification of travel at its most cynical, where marketing departments have successfully convinced millions to pay luxury prices for an experience that delivers neither luxury nor authenticity. Number 8. Tulum, Mexico. Tulum represents the apotheosis of Instagram-driven travel, a destination that has successfully monetized the aesthetic of authenticity while systematically eliminating every trace of genuine substance. This former Mayan sanctuary has been transformed into a carefully curated stage set for social media performance, where the pursuit of the perfect photograph has superseded any pretense of delivering meaningful luxury experiences. Properties like Habitas Tulum exemplify this triumph of style over substance, charging $500 per night for accommodations that mistake discomfort for authenticity. The absence of air conditioning in Mexico's humid climate isn't a charming nod to eco-consciousness. It's a calculated cost-cutting measure disguised as environmental virtue. Guests frequently discover that their exclusive retreat has been overbooked, with staff struggling to maintain even basic service standards while juggling impossible occupancy levels. The culinary landscape has devolved into a parody of wellness culture, where $30 smoothie bowls and microscopic portions masquerade as farm-to-table sophistication. These establishments prioritize photogenic presentation over nutritional substance, creating meals that function better as Instagram content than actual sustenance. The irony is palpable. In a region renowned for its vibrant culinary traditions, visitors find themselves paying premium prices for food that would struggle to satisfy a particularly discerning rabbit. Entertainment options reflect Tulum's fundamental confusion about its own identity. Yoga retreats and cenote diving, once genuine spiritual and natural experiences, have been industrialized into overcrowded tourist assembly lines. The famous cenotes, sacred to the ancient Maya, now resemble aquatic theme parks, complete with tour groups, underwater photographers, and the constant din of social media documentation. Environmental degradation compounds the cultural emptiness. Tulum's beaches, once pristine stretches of Caribbean perfection, now struggle with chronic sargassum invasions and plastic pollution that requires constant cleanup efforts. The very natural beauty that originally attracted visitors is being systematically destroyed by the volume of tourism it now generates. The most telling indictment comes from long-term expatriates who describe modern Tulum as a social media scam, a destination where experiences are curated for digital consumption rather than human enjoyment. For travelers seeking genuine bohemian luxury, destinations like Sayulita or Oaxaca offer authentic cultural immersion, superior environmental stewardship, and significantly lower costs without the performative wellness theater that has consumed Tulum's soul. Number 7. Hawaii, Honolulu, and resorts. Hawaii's transformation from Polynesian paradise to luxury tourism factory represents one of the most successful exercises in geographical rebranding in modern history, and one of the most disappointing for travelers who arrive expecting something more substantial than a tropical-themed shopping mall with beaches. The island's natural magnificence remains undeniable, but it now serves as mere backdrop for a hospitality industry that has confused price inflation with luxury elevation. Properties like the Four Seasons Maui at Wailea command $1,500 per night for accommodations that feel more like upscale chain hotels than gateways to Polynesian culture. The add-on fees, $50 daily, represent a particularly cynical form of pricing deception, while service standards frequently buckle under the pressure of peak season crowds that transform exclusive retreats into overcrowded vacation factories. The culinary landscape epitomizes Hawaii's identity crisis. While fresh Pacific seafood and Hawaiian fusion cuisine sound promising, the reality involves paying $80 for fish entrees that achieve the remarkable feat of being simultaneously overpriced and underwhelming. Resort dining operates on the principle that tropical ambiance can somehow compensate for mediocre execution, while authentic local food trucks, the island's true culinary treasures, remain frustratingly distant from resort enclaves. Transportation infrastructure reveals Hawaii's fundamental unsuitability for luxury tourism. The legendary traffic gridlock that transforms simple journeys into hour-long ordeals makes accessing Honolulu's limited urban attractions feel like a punishment rather than an adventure. Waikiki's nightlife scene, while energetic, delivers a generic club experience that could exist in any major city, complete with $20 drinks crowds that make personal space a distant memory. Environmental challenges compound the cultural emptiness. Popular destinations like Waikiki Beach have become so overcrowded that finding space for a towel requires strategic planning, while even remote hiking trails suffer from overuse and littering that mars their natural beauty. The commercialization of sacred sites and natural wonders reflects a tourism industry that has prioritized profit over preservation. For travelers seeking authentic tropical luxury without the crowds and inflated prices, destinations like Puerto Vallarta or Costa Rica offer comparable natural beauty, richer cultural experiences, and significantly better value propositions. Hawaii's greatest tragedy lies in its transformation from a unique cultural destination into an expensive tropical theme park, where marketing mythology has successfully obscured the disappointing reality beneath the postcard-perfect surface. Number 6. Ibiza, Spain. Ibiza's metamorphosis from bohemian sanctuary to commercialized party factory represents one of the most tragic examples of cultural commodification in modern tourism. This Balearic island, once a genuine refuge for artists and free spirits, has been systematically transformed into a branded entertainment product that bears the same relationship to authentic Mediterranean culture that a tribute band does to the original artist. Technically competent, but fundamentally soulless. Properties like Ushuaia Ibiza Beach Hotel charge $800 per night for accommodations that prioritize style over substance, delivering rooms that function more as staging areas for nightclub attendants than as luxury retreats. The constant sonic assault from adjacent clubs transforms what should be restorative sleep into an endurance test, while overbooked properties and indifferent service staff create an atmosphere more reminiscent of a busy airport terminal than an exclusive resort. The culinary landscape reflects Ibiza's fundamental confusion about its own identity. Celebrity chef restaurants charge $100 per person for meals that achieve the remarkable feat of being simultaneously pretentious and forgettable, while authentic Spanish cuisine becomes increasingly difficult to locate amid the tourist-driven establishments that prioritize Instagram-worthy presentation over culinary substance. The island's gastronomic heritage has been sacrificed on the altar of international appeal. Entertainment options reveal the extent of Ibiza's cultural hollowing. World-famous clubs like Pacha command $100 entry fees for experiences that feel more like expensive endurance tests than sophisticated nightlife. The packed dance floors and aggressive VIP culture create an atmosphere of manufactured exclusivity that alienates rather than welcomes, while daytime activities consist primarily of overpriced yacht charters and beach clubs that mistake volume for luxury. The island's isolation compounds its limitations. Ibiza town, while picturesque, offers little beyond tourist-oriented shops and restaurants, while the distance from mainland Spain's cultural riches leaves visitors trapped in a party-focused bubble that grows tiresome after the initial novelty wears off. Environmental degradation mirrors the cultural decline. Beaches near major clubs suffer from chronic littering and noise pollution, while the island's infrastructure struggles to accommodate peak season crowds that transform narrow streets into congested thoroughfares. For travelers seeking authentic Mediterranean luxury, quieter Balearic alternatives like Mallorca offer superior beaches, richer cultural experiences, and significantly lower costs without the hedonistic theater that has consumed Ibiza's soul. Modern Ibiza's greatest tragedy lies in its fundamental inauthenticity. The island exists primarily as a commercialized reenactment of its former self. Number 5. Monaco. Monaco stands as proof of humanity's ability to pack extraordinary wealth into extraordinarily limited space. A principality roughly the size of Central Park that functions simultaneously as tax haven, royal residence, and the world's most expensive parking lot. This microscopic nation has achieved the remarkable feat of transforming exclusivity into its own form of imprisonment, where the ultra-wealthy pay astronomical sums for the privilege of feeling perpetually observed and judged. Properties like Hotel de Paris Monte Carlo command $1,000 per night for accommodations that deliver all the warmth and personality of a luxury bank vault. The staff's obsequious attention to obvious wealth creates an atmosphere where your net worth determines your treatment, transforming what should be hospitality into a continuous audition for acceptance among the financial elite. Guests frequently report feeling like imposters unless they arrive with sufficient displays of affluence, a peculiar form of luxury that requires constant performance rather than relaxation. The culinary landscape epitomizes Monaco's confusion of price with quality. Michelin-starred establishments charge $200 per person for portions so microscopic they require magnification to locate, while the principality's obsession with fine dining leaves little room for casual, authentic meals. The irony is palpable. In a destination celebrated for its sophistication, finding a simple, satisfying meal becomes an exercise in futility. Entertainment options cater exclusively to a narrow demographic of gambling enthusiasts and Formula One devotees. The Monte Carlo casino's dress codes and high-stakes tables exclude casual visitors, while events like the Grand Prix transform this already congested microstate into a dystopian traffic nightmare that makes simple movement a logistical challenge. The $500 entry fees for prime viewing positions reflect Monaco's fundamental philosophy. If you need to ask about the price, you don't belong here. The principality's physical limitations become oppressive rather than charming. The absence of green spaces or natural beauty, beyond carefully manicured coastal views, creates a claustrophobic atmosphere where high-rise buildings and luxury yachts dominate every sightline. Monaco feels less like a destination than an expensive theme park dedicated to the worship of wealth. For travelers seeking authentic French Riviera luxury, nearby destinations like Nice or Cannes offer superior beaches, richer cultural experiences, and significantly better value without Monaco's suffocating pretension. Monaco's greatest failing lies in its transformation of luxury into a competitive sport, where the experience becomes secondary to the status of having experienced it. A hollow victory that leaves most visitors feeling more exhausted than enriched. Number 4. Bali, Indonesia. Bali's transformation from spiritual sanctuary to Instagram factory represents one of the most comprehensive examples of cultural commodification in modern tourism. This Indonesian island, once a genuine refuge for seekers of enlightenment and natural beauty, has been systematically repackaged as a luxury wellness destination that delivers all the spiritual depth of a shopping mall meditation corner. Aesthetically pleasing, but fundamentally hollow. Properties like Four Seasons Jimbaran Bay charge $600 per night for accommodations that promise tranquility, but deliver a constant symphony of traffic noise, construction sounds, and the persistent hum of over-tourism. The villas, while visually stunning, frequently suffer from maintenance issues that clash dramatically with their premium pricing, leaky roofs during monsoon season, and persistent insect invasions that transform romantic retreats into exercises in tropical endurance. The culinary landscape epitomizes Bali's identity crisis between authenticity and tourist appeal. Trendy establishments in Ubud and Seminyak charge $30 for smoothie bowls that prioritize photogenic presentation over nutritional substance, while fusion restaurants serve dishes that achieve the remarkable feat of being simultaneously overpriced and culturally confused. Authentic local warerongs, the island's true culinary treasures, remain frustratingly inaccessible from resort enclaves, requiring navigation through chaotic traffic that transforms simple meals into logistical expeditions. Entertainment options reflect the systematic commercialization of sacred spaces. Ancient temples like Uluwatu, once sites of genuine spiritual significance, have been transformed into selfie destinations where entry fees exceed $10 and crowds of photographers outnumber worshippers. The spiritual atmosphere that once defined these locations has been replaced by the constant click of camera shutters and the chatter of tour guides upselling additional experiences. Environmental degradation compounds the cultural emptiness. Bali's beaches, once pristine stretches of tropical perfection, now struggle with chronic plastic pollution that requires constant cleanup efforts. The famous rice terraces suffer from over-tourism that transforms contemplative agricultural landscapes into crowded viewing platforms, while aggressive monkeys at sites like Ubud's Monkey Forest create safety hazards that mar the natural experience. The island's infrastructure buckles under tourist volumes it was never designed to accommodate. Traffic gridlock transforms simple journeys into hour-long ordeals, while the humidity and persistent insect populations create comfort challenges that luxury pricing should theoretically eliminate. For travelers seeking authentic spiritual luxury, destinations like Thailand's quieter provinces or Vietnam's less commercialized regions offer richer cultural experiences, superior environmental stewardship, and significantly better value, without Bali's performative wellness theater that has consumed the island's authentic soul. Number 3. Santorini, Greece. Santorini dangles off Greece's Aegean coast like an overpriced pendant. Its iconic whitewashed architecture and volcanic vistas, systematically undermined by tourism volumes that transform this supposed sanctuary into a congested theme park masquerading as a luxury destination. The island's undeniable natural beauty has become both its greatest asset and its most tragic victim, as the very features that once made it special are now obscured by crowds so dense that experiencing the famous sunsets requires strategic positioning worthy of a military campaign. Boutique properties like Grace Hotel command $1,200 per night for accommodations that prioritize romantic aesthetics over practical comfort, delivering cramped quarters with walls so thin that neighboring conversations become unwelcome entertainment. The promised exclusivity evaporates when guests discover they're sharing their intimate caldera views with hundreds of other visitors who've paid similar premiums for identical experiences, while service standards frequently buckle under peak season pressures that transform luxury hospitality into crowd management. The culinary landscape reflects Santorini's fundamental confusion between location and quality. Restaurants charge $40 for basic moussaka, while trading on caldera views that diners must share with tour groups and selfie seekers. creating dining experiences that feel more like expensive theater than gastronomic adventures. The island's isolation from Greece's mainland culinary traditions means that authentic Greek cuisine becomes increasingly difficult to locate amid establishments that prioritize tourist appeal over cultural authenticity. Entertainment options consist primarily of overcrowded hiking trails, where dodging selfie sticks becomes a necessary survival skill, while boat tours to the volcanic islands feel more like cattle drives and luxury excursions. The famous sunset viewing points in Oya transform into human traffic jams, where personal space becomes a distant memory and the natural spectacle is obscured by a forest of raised smartphones. Environmental degradation mirrors the cultural decline. The island's infrastructure struggles to accommodate visitor volumes that exceed its carrying capacity, while beaches like Parissa suffer from chronic littering that mars their distinctive black sand beauty. The narrow pathways that once provided intimate access to scenic viewpoints have become congested thoroughfares that make simple movement a logistical challenge. For travelers seeking authentic Greek island luxury, alternatives like Paros or Naxos offer superior beaches, richer cultural experiences, and significantly lower costs without the circus atmosphere that has consumed Santorini's soul. The island's transformation from romantic retreat to tourist assembly line represents everything wrong with modern luxury travel, where reputation trumps reality and marketing mythology obscures disappointing truth. Number 2. Maldives. The Maldives represents luxury tourism's most successful exercise in geographical imprisonment, a destination that has transformed isolation from a challenge into a marketing advantage, convincing travelers to pay astronomical sums for the privilege of being stranded on artificial islands, with limited options for escape or variety. These scattered atolls function as beautiful prisons, where overwater bungalows serve as gilded cells, and the absence of alternatives becomes reframed as exclusivity rather than limitation. Properties like Soneva Fushi command $2,000 per night for accommodations that promise paradise, but frequently deliver maintenance issues that clash dramatically with their premium pricing. Guests report creaky boardwalks, spotty Wi-Fi connectivity, and service delays that transform simple requests into logistical challenges. Problems that luxury pricing should theoretically eliminate, but instead seem to be exacerbated by the isolation that makes quick solutions impossible. The culinary landscape epitomizes the Maldives' fundamental limitation: geographic isolation that transforms dining from pleasure into endurance test. Resort-bound restaurants charge $100 per person for seafood-heavy menus that become monotonous after the initial novelty wears off, while alcohol prices, inflated by import taxes and religious restrictions, reach levels that would embarrass even Monaco's most pretentious establishments. The absence of local food culture means that authentic Maldivian cuisine remains as elusive as affordable drinks. Entertainment options reveal the destination's one-dimensional appeal. While snorkeling and diving offer world-class underwater experiences, the activities become repetitive for travelers seeking variety, and the complete absence of nightlife or cultural attractions leaves guests trapped in a resort bubble that grows claustrophobic after the initial honeymoon period ends. The isolation that marketing materials celebrate becomes oppressive when you realize there's literally nowhere else to go. Environmental challenges compound the experiential limitations. Climate change brings rising sea levels and coral bleaching that threaten the very natural beauty that justifies the astronomical costs, while seasonal jellyfish invasions and tropical storms can disrupt water activities that represent the destination's primary appeal. The Maldives' greatest failing lies in its transformation of limitation into luxury. For travelers seeking tropical paradise with cultural depth and variety, destinations like the Seychelles or Mauritius offer comparable natural beauty, superior infrastructure, and significantly more diverse experiences, without the claustrophobic isolation that defines the Maldivian experience. The archipelago's one-dimensional appeal makes it vastly overrated for anyone seeking more than an expensive aquarium experience with room service. Number 1. Dubai. UAE. Dubai represents humanity's most ambitious attempt to answer an unasked question. What if Las Vegas were designed by oil billionaires with unlimited budgets and a pathological fear of subtlety? This monument to excess rises from the Arabian desert like a fever dream rendered in chrome and glass, having mistaken tallness for significance and quantity for quality, with such unwavering commitment that one almost admires the dedication, if not the result. The Burj Al Arab, that needle-like tower piercing the skyline like an architectural exclamation point, charges $2,500 per night for accommodations that deliver all the soul and authenticity of a luxury shopping mall. Guests frequently report the jarring disconnect between the property's 7-star pretensions and its fundamentally corporate atmosphere, where impersonal service and maintenance issues, worn carpets in suites costing more than most people's annual salaries, reveal the hollow core beneath the golden facade. The culinary landscape epitomizes Dubai's fundamental confusion between expense and excellence. Michelin-starred establishments charge $200 per person for meals that achieve the remarkable feat of being simultaneously overpriced and forgettable, while authentic Emirati cuisine remains as elusive as affordable housing in Manhattan. The city's obsession with importing celebrity chefs and international concepts has created a dining scene that feels more like an expensive food court than a cultural destination. Entertainment options reflect Dubai's systematic prioritization of spectacle over substance. The city's famous malls, air-conditioned monuments to consumption, offer indoor skiing and aquariums that feel more like expensive distractions from the oppressive heat than genuine attractions. Desert safaris and theme parks charge $150 per person for experiences so commercialized they make Disney World seem authentic by comparison. The most telling indictment comes from long-term expatriates who describe living in Dubai as inhabiting a 5-star hotel lobby for years. Impressive initially, but ultimately sterile and soul-crushing. The city's strict social regulations, from dress codes to alcohol restrictions, create an atmosphere of perpetual surveillance that transforms luxury into a form of gilded oppression. Environmental realities compound the cultural emptiness. The oppressive heat, often exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit, makes outdoor enjoyment impossible for much of the year, while the artificial nature of everything from beaches to islands creates a destination that feels more like an elaborate movie set than a place where humans might actually want to live. For travelers seeking authentic Middle Eastern luxury, destinations like Abu Dhabi or Oman offer richer cultural experiences and superior value without Dubai's suffocating artificiality. A circular economy of conspicuous consumption that mistakes success for excellence. And there you have it, 10 destinations where marketing mythology has successfully obscured disappointing reality, where the performance of luxury has superseded its authentic delivery. True sophistication lies not in paying premium prices for manufactured experiences, but in recognizing the difference between genuine exclusivity and expensive theater. If this expedition through travel's greatest deceptions has enlightened your perspective, demonstrate your discernment by subscribing to Smart Luxe Travel, striking that like button with the conviction of someone rejecting overpriced champagne, and activating notifications to join our community of travelers who refuse to be seduced by empty spectacle. Share your own experiences with these destinations in the comments. We'll see you on your next authentic adventure.